Okay, everyone, this is episode 105 of our podcast, and it has been a nice long minute since we've provided an update, so we figured we would jump on here and just kind of update you guys with what's going on in our lives. I'm going to go ahead and let Tami start because we kind of left off with letting you guys know that we found out some information that is helping us kind of navigate the fertility situation a little bit better, and I'll let Tami go ahead and share.
Yeah, so last time we talked about finally getting some answers with the IVF journey here. I am doing IVF. I have done now 2 rounds of egg retrievals, which have been really interesting processes, and 1 round of an egg transfer, which has been a very different process. So we just thought we'd let you know how those things were going. The egg retrieval it does take a few weeks of medications. It's all injection.
I'm getting really good at doing shots.
Yeah.
Not the kind that you would think.
Not the less pleasant kind. So the egg retrieval shots are all subcutaneous, which I by far prefer. I have learned. So those ones the needles are really shorter and a lot thinner. I really hated doing them until I had to start doing the transfer injections, which are all intramuscular, so the needle is longer, and because the medications are in oil, the needles are a lot thicker as well. Also,
I was nervous about giving her that shot. I'm like, this is a really long needle.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to go clear in?
All the way in.
Do you want me to push it all the way in?
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Makes you a little bit nervous about making sure you're in the right spot and everything.
Yeah, it feels really weird and uncomfortable to have, I don't know, just such a long, pointy thing you're stabbing into yourself. Thankfully, I don't think I could do the IM on myself. I did the sub-Q by myself mostly, and I was okay with that. But the intramuscular have been a lot harder, a lot more unpleasant.
Yeah.
So the egg retrieval I did 2 rounds. The first round, we didn't end up with any viable eggs. The second round, we ended up with 2 viable eggs. And so we did a transfer with one of them. It was unsuccessful. So now I'm doing a mock transfer, which basically I take all of the medications as if I were going to do a transfer. But then instead of doing a transferring the embryo, they take a little biopsy and test that, which will hopefully tell us the best time to do the transfer and the best place to transfer inside of the uterus. So hopefully with this last egg, it will be successful and we'll have some good news soon.
Always good news.
Hopefully. So yeah, it has been a really interesting process, just all of the trial and error, figuring things out, like with the sub-Q injections, for example. Something that helps is taking an ice pack and putting it on the injection site for a minute or 2 it helps constrict the blood vessels and the muscles and make it a little less, well, it's not really muscle, but for the sub-Q it doesn't go all the way into the muscle, just the fat, which is great. And so the having ice on it really helps you not feel the poke, and it goes in really better. We tried doing it with the intramuscular ones, but because it goes in the muscle, it actually makes it
worse,
less pleasant. Yeah,
and it makes her have a big knot under her skin. And so we were doing the shots, and it seemed like wasn't the liquid coming out, and maybe that's a problem anyways.
Yeah, there's a little bit of, because the injection hole is bigger because the needle is bigger, you have more of a problem with leakage as well. So just trying to figure out how to minimize pain and leakage and blood. Sorry, TMI. All of those things, it's just been a lot of trial and error. This worked better last time, and it's been a really interesting process to have Colton and Sophie help me do them.
Yeah, I was looking up after the first couple of shots or a couple of days. I don't know, we were 4 days into it maybe. And and it was just like Tammy's where they do where we do the shots was just killing her. She had really big knots under it, and I was just doing a little bit of research and saw that maybe heating up, like, so instead of using an ice pack, like heating up the area and like holding the shot in your hand, like warming it up a little bit so that the liquid is a little bit warmer, so that it's not cold going into your warm body and just like seizing up the muscle.
Because it's an oil this time, the medication, like if you have cold oil, it's thicker than warm oil. Right. So it goes in better and
absorbs better.
It's been interesting.
It's been a trial and error for sure. And I feel like this kind of stuff doesn't get talked about very often. And a lot of people, you know, they're just going through it motion by motion, and they don't really, I mean, I don't think we would have known to look out and try and find somebody else's experience to go off of either.
And I've like looked for experiences and things, and there's some information, but like this kind of a candid talk I haven't really found of just like how you do that intramuscular and how you just kind of have to figure out what works for you. Right. Because like for some people having it cold helps more, for some having it warm, and then too on the different types of medications, like the sub-Q medications go in differently than the intramuscular, and so having that kind of information to like go off of, and it will be for everyone, there will be that trial and error, like what works for you, how your body responds to it and things. Right. But it would be nice to have had a little bit less trial and error, like to just like have more, be able to go into it with, these are some things you can try.
And it's a mentally challenging process. Like I've been sitting here witnessing this with Tami, and just like her gearing up every single time that she has to have a shot, and then like counting down the days until the next part of the process. And something that you were doing is using a tennis ball and like rubbing it on the site, trying to break up.
The tennis ball has helped a ton. The second time around, so I did the actual transfer. Now I've been doing the mock embryo transfer. And it has been way better doing those things that we tried the first round, to start off with, like using heat and the tennis ball to rub in the knots has helped a lot.
Hot showers, those have been helping. Yeah, so it's been a really interesting process, and Tami's been a serious trooper, like seriously. And it's very interesting, like all of the dialing in that they're doing, like how they're doing a mock transfer now because the first one didn't work. And so they're like dialing in like how thick her lining is, or how healthy it is. What are they doing exactly?
Yeah, so with the transfer and the mock transfer, you do some ultrasounds that check the uterine lining. It needs to be a certain thickness to be optimal. Isabella over here checking out social media.
Play with that.
Oh goodness, silly girl.
So the lining, they check the lining, and they check hormone levels, making sure the body is processing the medications really well and utilizing it to simulate you being pregnant. We're about to have company.
Hi, buddy. Hey. Do you want to go in with Grandma Sissy? Some loves for a moment. Remember where you're at. Yes. Good morning. Have a good nap.
Yeah. Naps are nice. I like naps.
My sweet boy. Do you want to go in with Grandma Sissy? Oh, this one right here.
So just simulating, your body being pregnant and getting pregnant. And so it's been just interesting to learn all that goes into it, and how my body reacts to it, and hopefully figuring it all out. And hopefully this time will work, and if it does, then we'll know where to start next time so that we don't have to do so much trial and error.
Right. Knowing that we probably, every time that Tami wants to have a baby, that this will be the process, it's really dialing that in. And really, having children in general is such a big science. Like, that's the biggest thing. And, like, especially in women that have infertility, it's like most people think that you can just get pregnant when you want to get pregnant. But then when you get into it, and if you have infertility problems, it's such a trial, and it's trying to, like, dial in every single thing that goes into that. When I struggled with infertility for 2 years, I had just decided that Tami was going to be the one that had kids in our family, that's a benefit. Okay, are you going to go play? Go play. That is a benefit of plural marriage, you know, finding the silver lining to it. And finally, her giving me the advice to seek out a doctor that can maybe help dial in what's going on with my body. And, you know, thankfully that worked, and now we've got 2 more kids in the family. And but that mental struggle with, like, realizing you really have to get everything down to a T with what you're trying to do. And hold on one second.
Okay, come here.
So really just dialing that in and finding out what works for you, because fertility is different for every single person's body, and thankfully I found out what my problem was, but it's a big process for everyone, for sure. So anyways.
Yeah, so that's our main update here with that. Just we're still working at it and trying to figure it out, and hopefully we'll have some more news and good news and have some more updates soon.
Yeah.
That is one thing with all of this process that I feel like there's a lot of, like, hurry up and wait. That, like, you have to wait, you have to do these medications for a few weeks, and then you have to do the transfer, and then you have to wait some more, and then you have to do something else and wait some more. So that is kind of a long process, but
you have to have so much patience going into it. And I mean, really, I don't know what it's like for everyone else, but even from the time that we were looking at going down this road with Tami, like, it took us a long time to get the answers that we needed first, and then it takes a long time to have the right doctors at the right place at the right time, and going through their process, and the tests that they want you to do beforehand to make sure everything is perfect and optimal, so that, you know, you go into this IVF cycle that everything is hopefully going to be successful. And then, you know, the mental ups and downs of that, like, okay, well, the first one didn't work, so now we've got to do this again, and now they want us to do a mock trial, and it's just been such a big process that we just have to be so patient with it, and just taking it one step at a time, and going through the motions over here. So there's that update for you guys, and we'll try and make these more regular, for sure.